Sephora Berman is the most radical, outspoken, uncompromising, and likely the most recognizable eco-activist in Canada. For 25 years, Berman has been leading radical protest movements across our country, from anti-forestry protests in Clayoquot Sound, BC in the 1990s, to more recently campaigning against the Canadian oil and gas industry, everything from pipelines to fracking. Here, just take a look.
We need to keep the majority of the carbon that we have left, the majority of the oil, the majority of the coal in the ground.
We're not going to be able to avoid runaway climate change unless we keep it in the ground. Have we solved our problem if we have a greener oil sands in Canada? No. Ultimately, we need to slow it down. We need to phase it out.
Oil corrodes.
Oil is not only corroding our pipelines, but more so than just corroding pipelines.
It's corroding our pipelines for sure.
Oil is corroding our democracy.
Democracy.
It's corroding our democracy.
And now today, she sits on the Alberta government's Oil Sands Advisory Group. Yeah, where else could a radical eco-activist like Sephora get a job working for a government besides the Alberta NDP? Well, actually, the BC Liberals. You see, Sephora was given a very similar advisory position in 2009 when then Premier Gordon Campbell appointed her to our Green Energy Task Force. This is around the time that the BC Liberals and the usually fairly conservative Premier Campbell seemed to find their inner green. Well, despite her becoming friendly with the BC Liberals and now the Alberta NDP, there is no politician anywhere in Canada that Sephora worships more than Vancouver Mayor and noted anti-oil and gas activist Gregor Robertson. So it came as no surprise to me to see Sephora fundraising for Mayor Robertson's political party, Vision Vancouver, on Twitter. This is clearly a conflict of interest for the Alberta government she now works for. Rachel Notley just wrapped up a week in Vancouver last week where she held numerous meetings behind closed doors, trying to sell those opposed to the recently approved Kinder Morgan pipeline project on its merits. So why on earth is someone sitting on the Oil Sands Advisory Group fundraising for the most anti-oil sands political party, Vision Vancouver? Well, it's pretty obvious, don't you think? Sephora doesn't care about the oil sands. She doesn't want to toe Rachel Notley's line and help her sell this project. No shot. No way. She is a mercenary hired to advise the Alberta NDP and their destroyers how to destroy the oil sands. And you can bet that Rachel Notley will let her NDP staffers, I mean destroyers, campaign with John Horgan and the BC NDP for their anti-oil and gas, anti-Site C, anti-energy campaign for next year's provincial election in BC too. But what's Sephora's excuse for doing what she does? Well, check out this tweet. Quote, on OSAG, we are not making recommendations on pipelines, but on implementing the climate plan and local impacts in oil sands. Oh yeah, implementing the climate plan. Well, let me put that more plainly. She's implementing her plan to destroy the oil sands she hates so much. You know, our politicians need to stop falling for this idea that somehow naming destroyers like Sephora to various advisory groups gains favor with radical environmentalists. It won't, and it never will. They will oppose all forms of development until we are all in energy poverty and to a stage of negative growth, because that is ultimately what those environmental extremists want to see. So let's stop hiring foreign-funded radicals like Sephora and stop giving her the opportunity to do so much damage. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thank you so much for watching. You know, if you haven't already, please click subscribe on our YouTube channel so you never miss a video update. And we're getting awfully close to Christmas, so if you're in the giving spirit and want to help us out, go check our plans for the future at thebigplan.ca. And if you're someone that's already contributed to that, thank you so much.